Could the Chicago Bears trade up in this year's draft? Not for a receiver, no, but rather an offensive lineman. Let's talk about it, people. What is going on, y'all? Faiz all back at it with another video talking some NFL, here to talk about the Chicago Bears and here to talk about the possibility of the Bears trading up for an offensive lineman. Before I get into that, if you guys are new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Best way to support me, please hit that bell icon so you're notified every time I drop a new video. So this is coming from Daniel Jeremiah, NFL Draft Analyst, and he put this tweet out, and I thought it was pretty interesting when I saw it first, so I thought I'd share it with you guys. So he said the following: looking at the potential trade spots and thought this was an interesting one. Chicago trades up from 9 to 6 to take Joe Alt. I know they have a functional left tackle right now, but Alt and right would be an incredible tandem to protect Caleb for a decade, ideally for a 2025 pick swap. All right, so I will tell you this much, that I did not see this coming. All right, interesting proposal here by Daniel Jeremiah. I already don't think the Bears are going to be trading up from number 9 and giving up more draft capital, but now Daniel Jeremiah is saying they could be trading up from 9 to draft an offensive lineman in Joe Alt. So what are my thoughts on this? I'll say this first and foremost. Joe Alt is a beast, man. Like, he's a monster of a man, and he is obviously the best offensive lineman prospect in this draft by far. He's probably going to be the only offensive lineman going in the top 10, potentially top 5. Like, he is the real deal, and I think he's going to be an absolute stud. That being said, you do have, as Daniel Jeremiah mentioned, a functional offensive line. It's not great. It's not elite by any means. It's functional. So are you willing to go ahead and take and trade up more draft capital to take a guy in Joe Alt who you necessarily don't desperately need, right? You might need him, but you don't desperately need him. But then again, you don't desperately need a receiver either this year, right? If we're talking about taking a Rome Odunze and Malik Neighbors at number 9. So I think it's interesting. But I'll say this much: I don't hate it. I thought I would hate it, but I don't hate it. And here's why. I mentioned, right, it's not a desperate need for us. But besides Darnell Wright, how good do you really feel about the Bears' offensive line? Tevin Jenkins, I always have injury concerns. Nate Davis, kind of the same thing, not really dependable. I'm iffy on it. Braxton Jones, solid, but what is really the ceiling there? And again, he was also hurt, but I'm not going to say he's injury prone yet. And then your center that you signed this offseason, Coleman Shelton, I mean, he's not the long-term answer. So it's really just Darnell Wright that you're like, oh yeah, we got a stud on the right side, locked and loaded for the next 10, 15 years. And so you add Joe Alt to the picture, man, bookend of your offensive line for the next 10, 15 years. Like, this is what those elite teams that are elite at building, I should say, do. They build the trenches first, right? Our arch rival, the Green Bay Packers, they seemingly always have a good offensive line. And to me, at times, I would even tell you the O-line is more important than receivers, because if Caleb does not have time to throw, it doesn't matter if he's got Marvin Harrison Jr. out there. It doesn't matter if it's Keenan or DJ. He won't be able to get them the ball because he'll be on his back. And so I truly do believe if the Bears want to be a stable winning franchise for the next decade plus, having a solidified, not just average, but above average to elite offensive line is going to be one of the most important things for them to do. So it all will depend, again, on what this trade up would be, right, in terms of the pick and the pick swap. There's a world in which Joe Alt even drops down to number 9 and we still have him available there. But most likely he will be gone. That is my prediction. But what are you willing to give up? Are you willing to give up a second next year, a third next year? Certainly, I don't think it'll take a first, but it will be something substantial. And so to me, I thought I would hate it. I'd be like, nah, I'm not going to do it. But honestly, folks, offensive line, getting that solidified, getting it elite for years to come is going to be huge, huge, huge for setting Caleb up for success. To me, honestly, it might be the most important thing, because it all starts up front with the protection. the quarterback doesn't have the protection, man, nothing else matters. So I wouldn't hate it. And if this ends up happening, it certainly would be interesting for us to see. So let's see if Ryan Poles has this kind of in his plan, in his draft plans, or if we stick with receiver, or maybe we get a more pressing need like pass rush. So let me know what you guys think, man. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts on this potential for the Chicago Bears to go ahead and trade up for Joe Alt. Leave a comment down below as always.